This is Pre-Calculus Unit 4, which is Chapter 10. This is the conic section. This is the worksheet review number 1. I'm going to do the third problem. All right, so for this, it talks about a hyperbola. The center is at 3, 2. So remember, that's your h and k. So if you think about for the formula, you already have that. We now just need a and b. All right, so the length of the line segment contained in the horizontal transverse axis. So if it's horizontal, that means it's going to be the x is going to be first here. When I do this, because it's going to be the transverse axis is the x. All right, the endpoints are the vertices. Of the hyperbola is 8. So when I do that, that means I know my distance between the vertices is 8. Okay, so the transverse axis is 8. That means my a has to be past that. So a is going to be 4. So that's what I got from that section. All right, obviously, I already have the center. All right, there are critical points 2 units above and 2 units below the center point. Some people I know will be confused with that, but that's really giving you what b is. It means b is going to equal to 2. So for this one, all right, I'm going to go to my graph first. So I'm going over 3, right 2. All right, I'm going to plot that point. That is my center. All right, if you remember, it says the critical points 2 units above and below the center point. When I do that, again, that's coming up and down. That's vertical. All right, that's the opposite of where it says the horizontal transverse axis. So that's why you know it's the B. All right, so the transverse axis, this distance was 8, so we're going 4 to the left and 4 to the right. So I'm going to plot those points to the left and to the right. So if this was an ellipse, I'd go through and I'd draw the oval. It is not. It's a hyperbola. So for the hyperbola, instead, you draw the rectangular box. So remember, you're going to go through these points. All right, and then from there, now I can draw my asymptotes in, make sure it goes through the corner of the rectangles and through the center. And remember, those asymptotes are what we use to help draw in our branches of our hyperbola here. So when I do that, remember this is going to be a hyperbola that's going horizontal, so this is the left and the right. So I'm going to use these points right here as my vertices. So it's going up and down here. All right, so I'm going to start listing this out. So my vertices here is going to be that one point, which is -1, 2. And then this one's going to be out 3, 6, 7, 2. All right, so it's from there now. Pretty much what I need to do at this point is to write my equation. All right, I have my a and b. I mean, technically I could write the equation, and then I also need to find the foci, and I need to find my equation for my asymptotes. All right, I'll write the equation next, just because I have that information. All right, so since this is a hyperbola, this is one with the x with the minus in it. All right, since I'm going left and right here, that means I have to use the x's first. So this is going to be x minus h squared all over a squared. Remember, in a hyperbola, a always comes first, then minus y minus k squared over b squared, and that's equal to 1. So again, I have this information. I pretty much had it from the beginning. Once I had this, the a and the b and the h and the k up here. So this is going to be x minus 3 squared all over 16 minus y minus 2 squared all over 4 equals 1. So that is my equation in standard form. All right, to solve for my foci, I'm going to need my letter C. All right, so to do that, I have to use my Pythagorean theorem. Remember, using the Pythagorean theorem as it is normally written with the a squared plus b squared equals c squared for the hyperbola. So that's going to be 16 plus 4 equals c squared. 20 is equal to c squared. So c has been equal to the square root of 20, which reduces to be 2 root 10. C is 2 root 10. All right, so that's what I'm going to use for my foci. All right, so remember that the foci are very similar to the vertices. They're left and right here, so I'm going to go to the right, I'm going to go to the left. All right, so they're all based off that center. So the center point I had, it gave it to us here is 3, 2. All right, so since I'm going left and right, that 2 root 10 is going to match up with the x value. So it's going to be 3 plus or minus 2 root 10, comma 2. All right, when I plot those, square root of 20 is between 4 and 5, so I'm going to go to the right and to the left 4 point something. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's just a little bit past both of the vertices. All right, finally my asymptotes. asymptotes here. When I do this, this is going to be y equals k. So k, remember, that's the y value of the center, so that's 2. And then plus or minus. So from here, since this is the horizontal, we have to do this as b over a. So remember I talked about HBO. Right, so it's going to be 2 over 4. And 2 over 4 is going to reduce to be 1/2. And it's going to be x minus 3 for the last part of that. And I just noticed I made an error here when I did the letter C. C is not 2 root 10, it should be 2 root 5. All right, so if I confuse you on that, I apologize. Let me go back and fix that right now. So square root of 20 is going to be 2 root 5. Remember, that's the 4 times by your 5. So here, again, C is equal to the square root of 20. When you do that, that becomes 2 root 5. That just changes this to be a 5 instead of a 10.